Hey, everybody. Thank you for spending a few minutes with us today. This is Emily Anderson with BrandNet. There is a seasoned franchise brand that I'd like to introduce you to today if you're not already familiar with it. And I'll tell you a little bit about why I'm spending some time and want to put it on your radar. This is a huge industry, $40 billion industry that is highly fragmented. What I love about it is it has both B2B and B2C revenue streams, low overhead, few employees, simple business, and this is what a lot of our placements are looking for today. So I would like to introduce you to Chad Wright with CertaPro Painters, who's going to tell you more about this opportunity. Chad.
Thank you, Emily. I appreciate that. As Emily mentioned, my name is Chad Wright. I am a general manager of franchise development over here at CertaPro Painters. Have been part of the BrandNet inventory and portfolio of brands for quite some time, and very happy to be chatting and greatly appreciate the opportunity to talk with you all on some of the exciting things that we have going on over here at CertaPro. Over the next 10 to 15 minutes, I plan to discuss some of the things that you see in front of you there. Give you an overview on CertaPro and the space that we play in, discuss who our customers are and how we market to them, talk about the relationships and partnerships that we have with Sherwin-Williams and Benjamin Moore. I'll touch on support a little bit, and then towards the end we'll talk a little about some of the average sales numbers in our system for the last couple of years, as well as the overall investment information for us as well. So diving into things, CertaPro is a 28-year-old brand. We were founded in 1991, started franchising in 92, and we are part of a parent company called First Service Brands. They're located up in Toronto, Canada, traded on the NASDAQ under FSB. But First Service owns several different franchise brands, some of which you may have heard of before that you see on the screen. California Closets, Paul Davis Restoration, Floor Coverings International, and some other brands. They also own brands that are not franchised. Colliers International is a multi-billion-dollar commercial real estate company. It's actually the largest residential property management company in North America, but they're all property or property service businesses, so you can see the synergies there. As a system between U.S. and Canada, we service a little over 500 markets, and we are the largest painting company in North America. It's a $56 billion industry between the residential and commercial side. We own about a 1% market share. And with that said, the gap between us and the rest of the players in the space, even on the franchise side, it tends to be increasing instead of decreasing. So we're doing a lot of things right over here at CertaPro. And when it comes to our franchise owners, we're looking for franchisees, very probably similar to yourself, coming from strong corporate backgrounds. These are real pictures of franchisees and real backgrounds on the screen. But our owners are coming from that strong corporate background. They're familiar with strategic goals and maybe goals around certainty. That's the Certa part of CertaPro is certainty. And our franchisees understand it's not about picking up a paintbrush. That's why we say we're looking for leaders, not painters. And, our franchisees have come to us for a lot of different reasons. And, I call it the why. And you may share some of those similarities as well, whether it is looking for more flexibility, less travel, more travel. Maybe you're looking to take more vacation and so on. An example that I always like to point out here of someone who's built a big business in our operation is Jeff Brown. You see him and his wife Joanne and some of their key staff. Jeff's down in Knoxville, Tennessee, and Jeff's background was in logistics. He was president of a trucking company and has grown to be one of our larger operators. Been with us 13, 14 years now, and this is a team that, in theory, you could build as you scale, because that's what our model is built around, is scalability. So you see Jeff's org chart here, and when Jeff came to CertaPro, Jeff was looking for an opportunity to build an operation organization where he could work on the business instead of in the business. He was looking for an opportunity to build a big, profitable, professionally managed business. It's allowed him to create wealth for him and his family and also those involved in the business. But what you'll see here, as the business grows, you'll add a layer of management, whether it's a VP, a general manager, or director level for both the residential and commercial side, because the business does tend to split into two teams. And then you'll add that layer of scalability underneath you with individuals on the sales side, on the residential side, the commercial side, and so on, and even as your crews go. So the opportunity within CertaPro it's not just a mom and pop type operation. The scalability is there for our franchisees to build a big profitable business. So why paint? Why do we play in the industry that we're in? Well, it's a massive industry, like I mentioned. It's $56 billion between the residential and commercial, and it's an industry that's not going anywhere. It's not going to be outsourced overseas. Even though there's changes in technology to the way that we apply paint, there's really nothing coming down the pipeline that's going to change the industry dramatically based on new technology or improvements that's out in the market space. And what CertaPro has done, at the end of the day, it's not about the paint job. The paint job has to be good. Don't get me wrong. But what an individual remembers more than anything else is the overall experience. And kind of think about maybe some of your interactions with contractors, whether it's general contractors, plumbing, painting, HVAC. Some of the issues that people have all the time: not coming in on time, not completing it when that estimate was provided, or over budget. Things change and the projections for the cost of the job have increased. We also hear a lot that individuals don't respect the home or the business that they're getting into. When CertaPro comes into a project, especially on the residential side, we're prepping that area. We're moving the furniture. We're putting down drop cloths. We're covering things up, putting down track paper so the hardwood or the carpet doesn't get messed up. Offering to put on protectants for the shoes to make sure that we're not tracking mud in and out of the home. And another big thing that I'll talk about later is even getting in contact with the contractor from the start. Think about if you've had an issue, how many calls you've had to make. On average, you have to make 7, 8, 9, 10 calls to contractors to reach 2 or 3 to get a couple to come out. With us, we've got a national call center that is dealing with our inbound leads, coming from a lot of the avenues that we'll chat about here in just a little bit. That's fielding those incoming calls and scheduling appointments for our franchisees and their sales team. Because when Mr. or Mrs. Smith wants that appointment, they want that availability and being able to schedule that right there, not leave a message and then get a call back 2 or 3 days later. Our competition tends to be local, unorganized mom and pop, Dan in a van, Chuck in a truck. I'm sure Emily has a lot of things for those type of businesses as well, but they tend to be unorganized and don't have the same type of professionalism or attributes that we as a 28-year-old brand have in a market space. And as Emily was mentioned towards the beginning of the call, this is a low overhead model. Few employees. We're using subcontractor labor, so we don't have that high overhead cost to start. There's really no inventory. We're getting our materials and our paint from Sherwin-Williams, Benjamin Moore, and your crews are getting those either on the way to the job site for the first day of the project, or they're getting it on the way home to prepare for the second day. And this isn't a storefront business, so you don't have those high overhead costs of brick and mortar. We don't need a storefront. Customers aren't coming to us. We're going to the homeowner or the commercial business and providing that estimate right on the spot. So we don't need that destination Class A retail for customers to come by and have a showroom. Eventually, as you scale your business, you'll start home-based, and then as you get an office associate and salespeople, you'll find an office space. But it's more of a production model than a distribution model, so you don't need that CertaPro location at the end of every block to further penetrate your area and gain that market share. 2 biggest differentiators that we have in the space, we play on both sides of the industry, both the residential side and the commercial side. And when we started 28 years ago, we were a residential exterior painting company. And today we've grown, we do all of the above, residential, commercial, interior, exterior, and we're at about a 60-40 split, 60 being residential, 40 being commercial. But we are growing at a clip that within the next 3 to 5 years will be about a 50-50 split between residential and commercial. Commercial is growing that large for us. And we'll talk about the segments of commercial that we focus on, but the bulk of our commercial business is coming from property managers and homeowners associations. It's about 80 to 85% of our franchisees' lead flow comes from about 2 to 3 property managers. Because at the end of the day, those individuals are looking for people that are going to show up on time, and they can trust. On the residential side, our 2 biggest lead source, number 1 is previous customer word of mouth at 36%, and digital at number 2 with 30%. And we'll dive into that just in a little bit, but it just goes to show that when we go into that homeowner and we deliver on what we promise, we keep our arms around that business. So when they have a new project that comes up, they contact CertaPro, or if they're at a cocktail party or a holiday party or a coworker is asking for a recommendation, we're top of mind and can easily transition into that business. Overall lead flow, we're doing a lot of the major initiatives that you're probably familiar with or maybe even have seen us on or heard us on. We're doing national TV, national radio, both at the national and local level, direct mail, digital, and so on. Part of the support as a franchisee with CertaPro is having what we call a regional marketing manager. Helps you build that marketing plan for the upcoming year, and you plan the work so you can work the plan throughout the year. And they're having quarterly calls with you to make sure that you're getting the results that you need. If there's tweaks along the way that that need to be made, you can pivot accordingly throughout the year instead of looking back, at the start of Q4 that we're on right now, figuring out, all right, where do we go wrong and how do we do that for 2020? They're in the weeds with you talking about some of the initiatives that they could do right away to help change your business. And a lot of the businesses that we compete against, they don't even have a website. And overall, we'll chat about it in just a little bit, but our lead flow is up 10% compared to last year. So a lot of the initiatives that our marketing team is helping with our franchisees is really taking off. I mentioned that we're the only national brand that the only national painting company that's doing TV and radio on a nationwide basis. You'll see a screenshot of one of our commercials that we started rolling out late last year. There's 3 different commercials running now. You may have seen one in your local market. We also do them on a regional basis as well. We're also in the middle of a national SiriusXM campaign on most of their sports channels, but you must be a national brand and able to advertise on SiriusXM. You won't hear mom and pops on SiriusXM. Web is our number 2 lead source. If you're looking for anything nowadays, whether it's a contractor or a restaurant or a vacation spot, where are you going to start? It's the internet, right? It's Google. 9 years ago, 4% of our lead flow was coming from the web. Today, it's neck and neck with previous customer word of mouth at 30%. But it's not just our website and search engine optimization and pay-per-click. It's also being linked with companies such as Yelp and Angie's List and Home Advisor that you see there. Those type of websites that are dealing with complementary type services, like landscaping, for example. When I'm not sure how it is at your household, but when things start warming up and thawing out come March and April, I have a long honey-do list of things that have popped up over the cold winter months, and now we're in project mode. So trying to knock all of those things out and overall beautifying the home, whether it's a handyman or landscape or painting the house, whatever it is. But having that presence digitally is super important in our business. And not only being there, but having a solid online reputation and reputation management as well. Because if you're anything like me, whether you're looking for a product or service or your next vacation spot, you pull it up, you Google it, and then you go straight to the comments, straight to the reviews for people that have been there before to figure out what was their experiences or what was their recommendation. So having that online reputation within our business is excellent as well. Mentioned lead flow's up 10%. SEO conversion is up 51% compared to last year. PPC, pay-per-click, is up 25%. So these are huge improvements by our marketing department. And we are continuing to test new and alternative platforms as well, like Snapchat and Facebook that you see there. That's not our end customer yet, but it will be. So we want to be prepared that when those individuals start having that income to be able to afford these type of services, that we're already there and they're aware of our brand. Switching gears and talking about the commercial space, our brand is barely scratching the surface as it relates to commercial. We've got a 1% market share on commercial as well. But when you're looking at commercial, there's a big focus on networking and building relationships. I mentioned that the property managers and the homeowners association, that's the low-hanging fruit for us. And on the commercial side, you travel with the relationship, so you're not bound by territory. So if you're doing a residential strip center within your territory and that same property manager has a parking structure an hour outside your territory, you follow with that relationship. So you follow with the relationship there and able to complete that work as long as it makes financial sense for you. And you'll see the segments that our franchisees are diving into there. And we find that our franchise owners, they become competent and proficient in a couple of these segments and really penetrate those deeper. And we have marketing materials for all of these segments. So as a franchisee, you or your sales team can walk into a retail provider or a healthcare provider or a school and have branded material that speaks specific to that segment, to that audience, instead of walking in with a list of all the industries. So you have that professionalism there. We have two huge relationships with Sherwin-Williams and Benjamin Moore. We've been working with both over 26 years. We are their number one customer. We spend about $50 million in paint materials apiece with these providers year over year, and they help provide a lot of support and a lot of training at the local level as well, like lead paint mitigation training at your local level. So you're able to walk into that house that's been built before 1978 and handle some of those unique instances there. They're also not only providing solid pricing for vendor pricing for our materials and our paint, but they're also a great contact at the local level to get introduced to painters. It's a good place for not only materials, but also to help you find your crews as well. And we at CertaPro, we'll teach you what good looks like. It's all part of that initial and ongoing training, but we want to make sure that you're able to get those sources, because your local Sherwin-Williams, they have those relationships. They know who the good crews are. They know who's doing work. They can help make that introduction with CertaPro instead of directing someone up to the front of the location to the business card section as well. And they're happy to pass along our promotional materials. We do a lot of cross branding as well. You may have heard that on some of our SiriusXM commercials, the mention of Sherwin-Williams, but they are a huge partner of ours and know a lot about the territory as well, and help our franchisees determine what may be a good place to start on both the residential and commercial side. We're talking about ongoing support. We've got the national and local TV and radio commercials that we're rolling out. We've got the regional marketing manager, but we also have general managers of development and operations. So those are the individuals that are helping our franchisees not only as they start the business, but as they get their legs underneath them and as they go to scale. A lot of specialization within our general managers of development and operation to help our franchisees business plan and figure out, okay, now it's time for you to make that next hire to take your business to the next level and help plan that out. One of the cool things as far as technology, our estimating software is tablet friendly. So a lot of our franchisees or their salespeople, when they're going out on estimates, they're walking in with an iPad or a Surface tablet and being able to create that estimate right then and there on their tablet. You can print it off, you can email it in PDF, whatever that customer wants, but you can build it right then and there on the fly, which most customers are kind of surprised by, because usually when you're dealing with a contractor, it's I'll email it over to you this evening, I'll get it to you over the weekend, you never hear back from them. Well, that type of speed and efficiency has allowed us as a system to land the estimates 46% of the time, when the national average is about 20 to 25% of the time. Mentioned the national call center that's out of Toronto, Canada, that's fielding the incoming calls coming to that 1-800-GO-CERTA and scheduling those appointments for franchisees in their business to go out and follow up on those warm leads. And we also have a lot of ongoing training, both in class, ongoing training in class, as well as CertaPro University, which is our e-learning catalog for our franchisees, their crews, and their employees as well. So, the question I usually get right about this time is, all that's great, but what is, what's the potential in this business? Well, as you can see on the chart in front of you, is our overall average sales performance for our franchisees over the last 10 years. Last year, average gross sales for franchisees in operation over 12 months was $1.4 million. All a huge increase from 10 years ago, back in 2009, when we were about 550,000. And going back to that 1.4 million, the average EBITDA line on that was over 213,000 back in 2018. So it just shows that our business has scalability, and it's not just a painting operation. Lots of scalability for our franchisees to potentially grow a large, successful business. And wrapping up here, talking about the overall investment, mention that it's a low-cost investment compared to some of the other brands in franchising. Seeing our franchise disclosure document, all in about $130,000 to $170,000. Franchise fees $57,500, and then below that you've got about $70,000 to $90,000 in operational cost. 40 of that is for marketing, because we come out of the gate really, really strong. So when we're coming into a new market, we're building that brand awareness with wrap vehicles that you see there, lunch and learns, door hangers, your promotional T-shirts and things like that that you're going to be going around the neighborhood in. So building that brand awareness. Royalty is 5%. So when we're looking at a candidate, we like to see about 80,000 liquid and about 250,000 net worth. That opens franchise candidates up to a lot of the activities that we have for SBA-friendly financing, 401k rollover, and things of that nature. But a pretty exciting offer that we have going on for new markets is we are offering to waive the franchise fee of $57,500 in exchange. Instead of that 5% royalty, that increases to 7% for 5 years. And then after those 5 years, it drops down to the normal 5%. So that has really opened up the possibility for a lot of individuals that may be a little tighter on the front end financially to come in, still be a successful business owner, and be able to get within CertaPro. So with that, Emily, I would like to hand things back over to you to close things out.
Thanks, Chad. Thank you so much. That was so much information, and I really appreciate you so generously providing it. That was fantastic. If you are listening in and you're interested in taking next steps, if you haven't already, please complete the Personal Franchise Assessment, the PFA. That's going to give us some really wonderful and helpful insights into what kinds of businesses would best suit you and how CertaPro might be a great fit. If you have already taken that, then reach out to your local FranNet consultant. And if you don't know who your local FranNet consultant is, go ahead and shoot me an email or give me a call, 503-726-5935, and I will arrange a personal introduction between you and your local FranNet associate. So again, Chad, thank you so much. For those of you listening in, thank you for your time and attention, and have a great rest of your day.